Oh, this is like the third time I'm attempting to do this video. I tried to do it and there were a lot of dogs barking, and those are the neighbors. They have a couple of dogs. And then I tried to do it again and the lawn guy came and started cutting grass. So this is the third attempt I'm making to get this done. It's gonna still be some noise, but it should be a lot better. This time of the year, you're gonna hear a lot of activity because it's a very warm season and people, tend to gravitate outdoors. So this came out on ABC News. Opioids responsible for two-thirds of global drug deaths in 2017, UN. It is bad, y'all. They are losing people by the millions, and they're not going to admit it, but that is exactly what's going on. Now, for a long time, they used to try to say, oh, well, marijuana curbs opioid use. Well, I did a story about a month ago that debunked that. They said opioid use is not going to drop because of marijuana. And technically, ladies and gentlemen, it hasn't. Marijuana is legalized all over the damn place now, but opioid deaths are still going strong. So I have to agree that's not the answer. I think they are just grasping for straws because it's a desperate situation for the amount of people that are dying. If it was just a few thousand people dying or some low number, it would never have that much of an impact. But it is because you got your EMTs that are tired of going out on these calls. This is why, like in my state, they're giving out Narcan to the public because they're trying to get help. They're overwhelmed by these phone calls. So Pennsylvania has done it, my state has done it, and more states are going to be jumping on the bandwagon of getting as much Narcan in the hands of the public so they can help deal with these junkies. Number two, I knew this was coming because this was a suggestion from the Attorney General. He said that more of the public need to help in these drug overdoses that are going on. They're worn out dealing with this stuff. And you can tell they're worn out. So I'm not surprised. I won't be shocked if the next decade or so it's going to be the majority on the planet dying from these opioids. So I mean that is huge. Two-thirds of the globe. So this came out June 27th, 2019. A sobering new United Nations report shows that the opioid plague has metastasized beyond U.S. borders and engulfed the globe. That is huge. The whole globe is now engulfed in these opioid deaths. I tell you what, the Most High is definitely at work here, concluding that opioids were responsible for two-thirds of all drug deaths worldwide in 2017. And this is 2019, it's got to be more because they have not been able to slow this thing up. So they are getting data, ladies and gentlemen, that opioid use has increased in Africa, Asia, Europe, and North America, and said that worldwide, and I know they're lowballing this number, 585,000 people died across the world from drug use in 2017. And two-thirds of those cases were as a result of opioid use. And I believe that. I believe that. So they said between the US and Canada, 51,000 overdose deaths were reported, and they're lowballing that number. They're lowballing it big time. The overall mortality rates in the United States and Canada are high, but those countries are making considerable efforts to monitor the situation. Well, that's all they can do. They sure can't slow it down. It's been 20 years. And look, the crack epidemic didn't even go on this long. It started subsiding like around the late 90s. It started fizzling out. But this thing, 20 years later, is going stronger than ever. So you can see down on this chart, ladies and gentlemen, from 1999 all the way to 2017, how it's done nothing but rise. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, opioids, oxycodone, codeine, these are the commonly used drugs in America. Okay. And while opioid use is on the rise, the report notes that cannabis is the most commonly used drug by far, which comes as little surprise as more and more US states are legalizing its recreational use, and even more have decriminalized the drug, except for many places that have it legal are still running around locking people up over it. And we see our Black brothers and sisters sitting in prison to this day over these ridiculous marijuana arrests because, see, they can't get you on anything else. Contrary to what they're trying to tell you, the prisons in America, and I did a story just a few days ago, are filled with these low level nonviolent drug crimes. That is the majority of the population, over 60% of the population in prison. So when these folks try to give you these stories, no, most of them are in there for violent crime. No, they're not. And the data don't support what they're saying. It doesn't. So either you are lying or the data you're putting out is lying, which means you're lying either way. Okay, you're lying either way. Okay, so how do you heal a world that is dying of opioids? You can't. These people got this thing set up as a public health issue, and they are literally standing on the sidelines, helpless, watching their people die because there's nothing they can do to stop it. So, hey, you made the decision to make it public health. So you shouldn't be out here complaining to anybody. You made that decision. All right. Number of past year users in millions. So you can see the estimation of how many people in millions are using each drug. So they're estimating that 188 million people are using marijuana. 53 million are on opioids, 29 million taking amphetamines, 21 million taking ecstasy, and 18 million on cocaine. America ain't nothing but a big old drug country, drug addict country. That's exactly what you are. The reports estimate that only 1 in 7 people with a drug use disorder is receiving adequate treatment. They are lowballing that number big time. Brennan said the figure was actually larger than he expected. I'm surprised that it's not more like 1 in 10 or 1 in 20, he observed. It is. It is. That 1 in 7, that ain't real, y'all. That's fakery right there. That's fakery. We have a big problem in this country and globally identifying people with substance use disorder, he said, noting that a lot of that is driven by stigma. If there's a silver lining of the so called opioid plague, perhaps it's that people are more comfortable than even before with talking about addiction, he said. they're not real comfortable with it. You know, there's still people, especially on YouTube, that are very touchy on these subjects. And I've been called a racist for doing opioid stories, y'all. Something that's out in the news for everybody to read. You know what it is. Whenever they can't come back with an answer for what you're saying, you're a racist. You just got to learn why they're using that. You know, when I don't have a comeback, you're a racist. So, ladies and gentlemen, please tell me what you think. This is a very significant story. And it just go to show you how much the world really is declining because of all of the drug addiction that's going on. That's what this proves. And it also proves that the numbers they are giving us got to be way higher than what they're saying. You know, they give it away whenever they tell you how bad and serious it is. That means that those numbers are great. But please tell me what you think, ladies and gentlemen. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.